Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I plan to do a very thorough review of the new Groundwork Blooming Romance palette from Miss DANESSA MYRICKS. I have been so excited to get my hands on this one, and this palette is now available, so definitely check the link in the description box if you guys are interested in purchasing it. This palette, similarly to the first Groundworks palette, which I did a video on here on my channel and I put through the ringer, is a multitasking artistry palette. This one, for example, has a bunch of like bronzy, contoury type shades. When I first reviewed it, I used it for my lips, for my eyes, for my eyebrows, and of course for my cheeks. So if you have not seen that video, definitely check it out. But anyways, just like this one, the new Blooming Romance palette is supposed to be used anywhere and for whatever you desire. So today we are putting it to the test. As you can see, I did already do my brows because obviously the color story of this one is different and it doesn't lend itself to be put on the brows. And I already also did bronze and contour using the first Groundworks palette from DANESSA MYRICKS. I blended that out. I have my foundation on, of course. And so everything else that is left to do to my face, I plan to do with the new Groundwork Blooming Romance palette from DANESSA MYRICKS. So let's just go ahead and get started. The retail price of this palette is $65, and here's what the outside packaging looks like. It has this really pretty fuchsia leathery effect to it. It says that this palette has a 12-month shelf life, I'm assuming because of the creams in there. And at the front it says that it is for eyes, brows, face, and lips. As I said, because of its color story, I'm not using it on my brows today, but I do plan on using it everywhere else. Satisfying. Okay, so here is what the actual packaging of the palette looks like. I'm moving it so that the light hits it in different ways. And once you open this one, it has a pretty good mirror up here, and here is what the actual shades look like. As you can see, we have all kinds of tones of roses in this one, from the palest rose to the warmest rose to the most intense rose shades back here. And just like with the original Groundworks palette, the big pan is a cream shade, and then the smaller pan next to it is the powder shade. So what I like to do is build whatever look I'm going for with the big shade, the creams, and then if I need to set that, I go into the powders and I set with the powders. My main critique with the original Groundworks palette was that I wish the powder shades were bigger than they are, and so this one being the same exact size, of course I'm going to continue to say that because it's kind of hard to get your brush in there, especially if you want to use the powder for not just eyeshadow, you know. But anyways, let's go ahead and go for the swatches of this one. Here's the palest shade called Crush in the cream, and in the powder next to it, Smitten Cream and Smitten Powder. Next, Dreamy Cream and Dreamy Powder. And because of these shades' multifunctionality, you're not going to get aggressively pigmented shades from this palette. They start out soft and you can build them up from there if need be, or you can go to like the darkest shade to darken them up. But that's totally what makes these shades be able to be used, you know, in so many different parts of your face. Allure Cream and Allure Powder. And Allure is one of my favorite shades because I love cool-tone mauve shades, and that is exactly what this one is. Desire, which is the warmest of the shades, cream and powder. Adorn, which is the first shade on row number 2, cream and powder. And this one is the reddest that we're going to go. It looks pretty warm when swatched. On the pan, it looks a bit more red. See, look at it on my fingers right here. It looks pretty red. So I'm assuming you can build it out to look pretty red then. So then we have Lovesick Cream, Lovesick Powder, Bliss Cream, and Bliss Powder. I really like the cool toneness of Bliss as well. Evermore Cream, Evermore Powder. This is one of the 2 darkest shades. And then EXO is the darkest of all of the shades. Here is the cream and the powder. So take a look right here at every single one of these shades swatched. So I think the first thing I want to do with this one is an eye look, and that way I'll know what like blush color to go for. and lip color to go for. So let's start with the eyes. I have a Rephr number 15 here, and I'm going to start with the shade Smitten. And of course, I'm going to use the cream color, at least at first, to start building Smitten all across the crease. So I'm just going to do some windshield wiper motions over here and make sure things look diffused at the top. Same thing over on this side, of course. So here's what that looks like blended all over. Really nice and smooth. I want to, of course, darken that up a bit, and I want to use the color Allure. So with a pinched blending brush, this is a Rephr number 1 Max. I'm going to start adding a little bit of depth to the outer third of my eyelid and building this shade into the crease. Alright, so now I'm making myself even over on this side. And before I move on to the next color, I want to kind of set what I've done so far with a powder. So with the same number 1 and the powder in the shade Allure, I'm going to go back right here and sort of set everything I've done so far in place, so that when I intensify with other creams, they don't fully melt into the creams I previously added to my eye. So I feel like by setting it with some powder in the same color that I just used to build up things, we're going to make sure that that does not happen. With a smaller blending brush, this is a regular Rephr number 1, I'm going into the shade Bliss here. And with it, I'm going to intensify the outer V of the eye even more. Just back and forth rubbing it on the lower side of the outer third of my eyelid and then flicking it upwards a bit. With that same color on a teeny tiny Rephr number 13, I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line here on the outer third and make it meet with the top on the side here. And again, I'm using the shade Bliss to do this. A little bit of powder Bliss to set things in place. And the shade is already on there and blended. It's not like you're having to do double the work or anything. I'm just using a tiny bit of powder so that things don't move. One awesome thing about using creams though is that you can super easily shape and clean around the eye area. And with that same Rephr number 13, I just cleaned it real quick. I'm going to grab the shade Smitten and I'm going to smoke it all out. So I'm going to take it all the way to the tear duct area and out here and just diffuse everything to soften that lower lash line. See, take a look at the difference. This one looks much softer already than this. All right, so now I'm going to brighten up the inner part of the eyes with the lightest color, which is the shade Crush, and a flat brush, a Rephr number 2. And with the shade Crush, starting on the inner corner, I'm going to brighten up the inner part of the eyelid, and I'm shaping it in as if it were a very soft cut crease, just like this. That looks super pretty. And then shading it down a bit, setting that with a bit of the powder, and the same thing over here. And I think right through the middle with a soft brush, I'm just going to get the shade Smitten and just run it right through the center of my eyelid back and forth. I'm using the Smitten powder, not the Smitten cream, just to lightly make sure everything blends well into one another. And this right here is my finished eye look. Just like a soft, romantic, smoky eye type situation. We could do a half wing with the shade XO right here. In fact, I feel like I would leave it at this, but just for the purposes of using as many shades as possible, I'm going to go into the shade XO with an angled brush and we'll create some wings. This is the E65 from Sigma, which is a small angled brush. And I'm going to dip it into the cream XO shade. And from the corner of my eye, pointing towards the tail of my brow, I'm going to do a little line there. And bringing it down from there, halfway through my lid. And so take a look right there at the wing. I'm going to set it with the powder for sure, but this is just to show you what it looks like just with the cream. Let me make myself even on this side. One thing I would add is that I wouldn't call making a wing with that shade easy. You can get there, okay? I got here and I'm not a wing expert. However, it takes quite a bit of building up. So just keep that in mind if you decide to use it like for eyeliner, like I did today. It takes quite a bit of dipping your brush in and building up things in order for your wing to come out nice and sharp, you know? Time to set it with a little bit of powder, which I know is also going to intensify things a bit. But we don't have to be as precise with the powder because We already traced our wing. And so take a look right here at what things look like. Before I get to my cheeks, I am going to put some mascara on. Back with the mascara on, and I also did use some lashes. I felt like we needed flared lashes to go with these wings. So time for blush and then lips. Blush wise, I think I want to do a little bit of an ombre so I can use multiple ones. So I'm going to start with the shade Bliss. And this is a Rare Beauty brush I have. I'm just going to tap it on there, and then starting all the way from back here, let me distribute. I'm going to start blending in that blush all the way to my hairline, and I'm going to stop around where the eyes start right here. And again, that was the shade Bliss. So now we're going to soften things moving forward. So I think I'm going to go into, let's see, I don't want to use the same shades I used on the eyes, but obviously those are the ones that match the most. Let's go into Dreamy here, which is like a peachy rose shade that I did not use on the eyes. And with this one, I'm going to move forward with the blush application. Yeah, that works. Dreamy works. It's not too contrasting. It's not too warm. But you can obviously use the same colors you use for your eyes if you want like the exact same match. I just want to show you as many shades as possible. So with a little bit of Crush next, just to lighten the inner part. Here we go. That's the blush application right there. I think that looks really, really pretty. Also, I wanted to show you, since I told you I had to dip back in order to create the wings a bunch of times. Here's the proof. Here's what my shade looks like. That was just me poking my little tiny angled brush in there a bunch of times in order to be able to create the wings. So now that we have the eyes and the cheeks, time to do the lips. I want to do like a little ombre something, right? I feel like that will look good. All throughout this video, what I've had on my lips is my new favorite thing in the world, which is this Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment. I'm going to wipe it off so that the lip products go on a little better. And I'm going to attempt to do the lip liner part with this BUXOM Flat Synthetic brush here. The color I want to use for the outer lip is the shade Bliss. And I'm just going to run it all throughout the border of my lips. A little difficult to overline with a brush, but we're doing it. Alright, so here is the lip liner with that shade. So the shade I just used is the shade Bliss, and then for the center, I'm going to go into the shade Dreamy. Same brush. So starting in the center and blending it into the lip liner. So take a look right here at the lip look. Really loving the way that combined and the way it came out. Now, this is not like a creamy hydrating type of lip product. It is a bit more on the matte side. So I do want to do like a lip oil on top just to make it juicy. This one from House Labs, because it's clear right here in the center, right through here, just like that. So take a look. This right here is the finished look with the Blooming Romance palette. Eyes, lips, and cheeks. Overall, I think these palettes are great and they perform beautifully. They are particularly amazing though for people who either travel a lot with their makeup or for makeup artists who need one product to do a lot of different things. I think the shades she chose to put in here are amazing. You can absolutely do your eyes, your cheeks, and your lips with these colors. The formulas are good. They're nice and buildable. At the same time, they are soft and they blend beautifully into one another. One thing I have discovered owning this one for quite a few months now is that me personally, this is probably not going to be something that I reach for all the time because I test out new products here on my channel all the time, and I have a big makeup collection next to me and I like to reach for like all of my individual bronzers and blushes and all of that. So something that is as convenient as this is not something that I'm necessarily reaching for on a daily basis when it comes to like traveling somewhere. When it comes to makeup artists who need palettes like these to be multitaskers on their clients, then I absolutely think that they're a fantastic idea. Me personally, I use them kind of as I would an eyeshadow palette in my collection or something like that. It's not something that I'm reaching for constantly. With that said, I do like these and I do like their performance, but it's not a must-have product for me personally. I am, however, absolutely in love with the way my makeup came out today. I cannot tell you otherwise. Really liked the makeup look today and how everything came out with this fantastic palette from DANESSA MYRICKS. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if this palette is something that you think will fit nicely into your makeup collection and you want to grab it. Please do so using the link I'm leaving you down below in the description box. Or if you want to wait a couple weeks, the Sephora sale is right around the corner, so it might be best for you to wait a couple weeks and get it with a bit of a discount. Anyways, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye.